Welcome back to Books with AR, Chapter 42, Centipede's Poison. Some of Wang Zhuo's companions agreed, and one of them said, "This is true. Friends of the Xuandao sect, leave it to us." All of the Xuandao sect's disciples hesitated. The disciple named Lu wanted to use the elders as an excuse. But at that moment, the middle-aged man in the back lightly coughed. The disciple named Lu's face twitched. He nodded and said, "If that's the case, then we will trouble the Hung Yue sect." Wang Zhuo smiled. He turned toward Wang Lin and loudly yelled, "Junior brother Wang Lin, the job of feeding the centipede will be left to you. You need to be careful." Hearing Wang Zhuo's words, all of the Xuandao sect's disciples turned their heads to look at Wang Lin. They all had strange expressions on their faces. How could they still not understand the meaning behind it all? This Wang Lin must have offended Wang Zhuo. Among the Hung Yue sect disciples, one person laughed and said, "I was wondering who Wang Zhuo was talking about. As I expected, it's junior brother Wang Lin." Someone else continued, "This job is really fitting for him. With his lack of talent, it's really a waste of time for him to cultivate. There's no chance for him to compete in the exchange. There really is no one else more fitting for these chores than him. Junior brother Wang Lin, you must do your job properly and not lose the Hung Yue sect any face." Hearing the laughter, the Xuandao sect disciples understood that not only had Wang Lin offended Wang Zhuo, but because of his lack of talent, had also become the target of mockery among the other disciples. This kind of thing happened in every sect, so it was not a big deal. As a result, all of the Xuandao sect disciples categorized Wang Lin as trash. The female named Zhou that was sitting next to Wang Lin frowned. She shot Wang Zhuo a disgusted look. She whispered to Wang Lin, "Junior brother Wang Lin, if I hadn't come, he wouldn't have targeted you. Wang Lin shook his head. Wang Zhuo hadn't just been targeting him for a few days. Ever since the first day they met and onwards, Wang Zhuo had always made an effort to ridicule him. The rest of the sect had looked down on him due to the fact that he got accepted by trying to commit suicide, and then became an inner disciple due to Elder Sun. Most importantly, he was only at the third layer, making him the weakest among these disciples. Power was everything. Wang Lin eyed the 1,000-foot centipede that was lying on the ground. He didn't care and pretended like he hadn't heard any of it. Not long after, Wang Zhuo assigned a few disciples to lead the Xuandao sect disciples to their rooms to rest. The Xuandao sect disciple with the water spirit roots named Lu glanced at Wang Lin before he left and gently said, "You must be brother Wang Lin. Our Xuandao sect centipede has a wild nature. When you feed it, you mustn't get too close or you will be injured." Wang Zhuo looked at Wang Lin with a cold smile. He didn't bother him after that. Soon, everyone dispersed from outside the main hall. The female named Zhou frowned. She talked with Wang Lin for a bit more, then left. Looking at the deserted area, Wang Lin stood up and walked toward the centipede. He stopped 10 feet away from it and carefully examined the spirit beast. Upon a closer look, this 1,000-foot centipede is an enormous beast. The body is formed by many sections, and between each section are rings with thorns pointing out like countless swords. There are also faint black spots all over its body, and its head has 2 massive pincers sticking out. In addition, what attracted the most attention were the 2 long red whiskers that moved without wind, as if they were 2 very long snakes. As if it knew Wang Lin was looking at him, it opened and closed its eyes, giving Wang Lin a cold glance. Wang Lin immediately felt a cold sensation sweep by. Wang Lin's body felt cold, but the movement of spirit power in his body immediately dispersed the cold. The 1,000-foot centipede revealed a surprised expression. It gave Wang Lin a deep and thoughtful look, then closed its eyes and ignored him. Wang Lin revealed an interesting expression. No wonder this was a spirit beast. It even had human-like expressions. While musing this, he left at a brisk pace to the mountains. Using his divine sense, he easily captured some small animals and came back. Along the way, Wang Lin saw some Xuandao sect disciples being led by some senior disciples. When they saw Wang Lin with the small animals in his hands, they laughed, which drew the Xuandao sect disciples' attention. One of the Xuandao sect female disciples, who looked very pretty, with a face that looked so delicate it felt like it could break by a drop of water, laughed and said, "Junior brother, all of those small animals won't be enough to feed the 1,000-foot centipede. You should go catch a large worm. Those are the centipede's favorite." One of the intersect disciples immediately tried to suck up and said, "Junior sister Ouyang, this dumb kid is like a mute. There's no need to talk to him. You didn't know this, but he is not qualified to cultivate. He failed all the entrance tests and then tried to commit suicide, which forced the elders to accept him as an honorary disciple." Wang Lin was familiar with the person who talked. He was the one who ridiculed him back during the training period, Sun Hao. Someone from the Xuandao sect quickly asked, "Honorary disciple? But I see him wearing red. He should be the Hung Yue sect inner disciple." Sun Hao loudly laughed. "I'm not done yet. This kid used some lowly method to gain the favor of one of the elders and was quickly raised to an inner disciple. But even so, with his talent, he will only be laughed at for the rest of his life." Wang Lin glanced at them and left. He arrived back near the centipede and threw the small animals next to it. The moment the small beasts saw the centipede, they fell to the ground, trembling in fear. The centipede opened its eyes and didn't even look at the small animals. It spat out a black gas. The moment the black gas touched the small animals, there was a sizzling sound. In a blink of an eye, the small animals turned into a pool of blood. The centipede sucked the blood into its mouth. Wang Lin took a few steps back. His eyes lit up. Centipedes typically contain poison, and these poisons were their greatest weapon. As a child, he read a book that mentioned that the poison of a centipede was related to its size. Simply said, the larger the centipede, the stronger the poison. Welcome back to Books with AR. Chapter 43. Old Friend. The centipede before him was 100 feet long. The poison it contained must have reached an unimaginable level. Wang Lin wasn't unfamiliar with centipedes. Many of the children caught centipedes to play with, and many used them to feed their chickens. Sometimes they would accidentally be bitten by the centipede, but all they needed to do was wash the wound with a lot of water, then, at most, lay in bed for a few days, and they would be fine. There was even a time where he collected centipedes for their poison. The doctor at the village said that if the centipede's poison was used properly, it could be used to cure illnesses. In the early days, his father couldn't afford to buy wood for his work, so he went up to the mountains to chop wood and let the cold air enter his body. This caused him to almost lose his life. At that time, the prescription made by the doctor contained centipede poison. Although his father's illness was cured, the illness left its roots in his father's body. Every time it rained, his father would be in a lot of pain. The prescription the doctor gave to help with the pain contained centipede poison as well, so Wang Lin had caught a lot of centipedes for his father. Until now, Wang Lin still remembered what happened back then. Looking at the 100-foot centipede, Wang Lin stroked his chin. If the small centipede's poison could help his dad's illness, then the poison from this centipede might just remove the root of the problem once and for all. But the centipede before him was simply too large, and Wang Lin was just too small compared to it. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to get any poison and hurt himself in the process. Suddenly, Wang Lin remembered a method for obtaining centipede poison. This method was passed down through the generations. It was to make a pill to feed to the centipede. Once the centipede consumed said pill, it would spit out poison. Thinking about it, he stared at the centipede and walked toward the pill house. The pill house contained the most materials in the sect. He also hadn't seen Wang Hao in 4 years, so it would be good to check up on him. It was already getting dark when Wang Lin arrived at the pill house and saw Wang Hao carefully exiting from the side door. Wang Hao saw Wang Lin and gestured him to be silent. He motioned him to go outside. Wang Lin was stunned. He sent out his divine sense and found the third elder staring at the pill furnace with a serious expression on his face. After walking away for a while, Wang Hao saw that Wang Lin had silently followed him out. He grabbed Wang Lin and quickly ran. After running away for a while, he finally let out a breath. Wang Hao was short of breath. He warily looked toward the pill house and quickly asked, with a glint of hope, "Wang Lin, I heard you went to the intense training 4 years ago. What layer are you at now?" "The third layer." "What is this?" Wang Lin scanned Wang Hao with his divine sense and found that Wang Hao was already at the first layer, but the spiritual energy in his body was very strange. The spiritual energy wasn't flowing properly, but moving in an odd path. Every time the flow circulated through Wang Hao's body, it would take away a bit of Wang Hao's life essence from his organs and absorb it. In this state, Wang Lin was afraid that it wouldn't be long before Wang Hao ran out of life essence and died. Wang Hao bitterly smiled and said, "You saw through it?" Wang Lin nodded and said, "Wang Hao, tell me what this is about." Wang Hao tightened his fist and said while grinding his teeth, "Back when we went to the exchange, I always regretted not being able to get the Foundation Establishment pill. Later, Master Luan Yu gave me a Foundation Establishment pill to repay me for being his helper. I was very surprised at the time. He also gave me a cultivation method and told me that it was better than the one the sect gives. I didn't think too much about it and cultivated with it." I took a deep breath and asked, "What? Let me see it." Wang Hao took out a thread-bound book and threw it to Wang Lin. He continued, "But after I practiced it for 2 years, my body became weaker. Although I can manage to condense spirit power in my body, I can't use it. Later, I secretly bribed a discipline to look it up for me and found that the cultivation method Luan Yu gave me is called Fire Furnace Trial." Wang Lin opened the book and looked through it. The more he read, the more shocked he came. What was in the book was completely different from what was inside the 3 layers of key condensation. Instead of using the spiritual energy to refine the body, it gathered spiritual energy into a swirl. This swirl would expand as one gathered spirit power, and it would soon be able to absorb the spiritual energy of the heavens and the earth to refine the body from the outside, achieving something similar to key condensation. In simple terms, key condensation was to slowly refine the body from the inside, and the latter was a high-handed method. If one was lucky, the swirl would expand outside the body before the body collapsed and achieve key condensation, and if not, then the body would be destroyed before the swirl expanded outside the body. Wang Hao said with his teeth grinding, "This fire furnace trial cultivation method, the archives in the sect held some copies of this. It is said to have been obtained from the extinct country of Lu. Only 2 out of 10 cultivators would survive using this method. It's all based on luck." Wang Lin asked the important question, "What benefit would Luan Yu gain from all this?" Wang Hao's eyes grew cold. He darkly said, "He wants to use me as a pill furnace. When the discipline of the archives gave me the information, it was recorded that the moment someone dies from cultivating the fire furnace trial, if a certain method is used, a pill that extends a one's life for 3 years can be created." Wang Lin took in a cold breath and thought that this third elder Luan Yu was too cruel. Wang Hao's expression was bitter. He harshly said, I don't dare to talk about this with the other elders in the sect head. After all, I'm Luan Yu's helper. Under the sect rules, my life is no longer mine, but Luan Yu's. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have agreed to be his helper. It is too late to regret it now. Luan Yu found out that I know the secret and threatened me with my parents. Now I have no control over my life. Every day I must take several key gathering pills, and the swirl in my body grows larger by the day. Based on my calculations, I only have about a year left to live.